Hello and welcome to Jackson's Job. This is a place where things can and often go wrong while baking. You'll see how to fix recipes when they go upside down and how to avoid those common mistakes. Let's learn how to bake a chocolate Swiss roll. Here are the ingredients you'll need if you want to follow along. Please preheat your oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit or 190 degrees Celsius and let's get started. For this recipe, you're going to need a 9 by 13 cake pan. You want to line it with parchment paper. You can also use a jelly roll pan, but I found that a cake pan is a lot easier than a jelly roll pan. Whichever one you want to use, just make sure that you line it. In a large bowl, we want to sift together our dry ingredients. You're going to need 1/4 cup of flour, 37.5 grams, 1/2 cup of cocoa, 40 grams, 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, 3 grams, and 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1.25 grams. Now, if you don't have baking soda, you can replace it with baking powder. Baking soda you can use and save money because you're using cocoa and the acid in the cocoa helps rise the cake. Once you get all the ingredients sifted together, you're going to set this aside and move on to your eggs. You need 3 large eggs, 150 grams. To that you're going to add in your sugar. 1/3 of a cup of sugar, 67 grams. You want to beat these until they are nice and fluffy and they quadruple in size and turn into a pale yellow. If they're still a bright yellow, continue to beat them until they look like this. Using the sifter yet again, you want to add in the cocoa mixture 1/3 at a time. You want to make sure that you don't add it in all at once because you don't want to knock out that air. Using a whisk, go around the outside and then through the middle, and do this gently, don't go fast. You're going to just fold this in. If you go too quickly, you're going to deflate that air you just created with the eggs and the sugar. Continue this until you have added in all the cocoa mixture. It should be a nice thick batter and it should run off your whisk like this. At this point, you're going to put it into your prepared pan. You can use the back of a spoon or an offset spatula to help you spread it out the best you can. You want to bake this anywhere from 8 to 10 minutes or until a toothpick inserted in the middle comes out clean. While that is baking, you want to get a clean towel and dust 2 tablespoons of powdered sugar or 16 grams all over it. Make sure you're generous here. Remove the cake from the oven and then you're going to run a knife around the edges. Now if you have a non-stick pan, please don't use metal utensils and then get mad at me because the pan's all scratched up. Turn this out onto your towel and if you didn't do it evenly, just pick it up and try to put it back in place. Then you want to remove the parchment paper and then roll it up gently. If you noticed, I didn't remove the parchment paper. Later on, I unrolled it, removed the parchment paper, and then rolled it back up, and I ended up cracking the cake all to bits. But that's okay, I'll show you how to fix it later. Let this cool on a wire rack for about an hour until it is completely cool to the touch. Once it's cool, then you're going to make your buttercream. In a large bowl, we have 1/2 cup of softened butter, that's 113 grams, and we're going to beat this until it's smooth, and then we're going to add in some vanilla. If you don't have vanilla, it's okay, you can skip it entirely. You want 1 teaspoon of vanilla, 5 milliliters, and try to use the best quality vanilla you can, but if you can only use imitation, that's fine too. To that, we're going to add 1 cup of powdered sugar, 125 grams, and 2 tablespoons of cocoa powder, 10 grams. Try to add it in a little bit at a time on a low speed so you don't make a huge mess. It also ensures that your icing is going to be nice and smooth and creamy. Now we're going to take that cake from earlier and we're going to try to unroll it. And you want to do it gently and slowly like this to prevent it from cracking the best you can. Now, as I told you earlier, I'd forgotten to take off that parchment paper, so I cracked the cake all to bits when I did that, but that's okay. I'll show you what you can do when this happens. Using an offset spatula or the back of a spoon, spread the frosting evenly throughout the cake. Make sure to get that little lip that has rolled back up. Then you're just going to gently roll this back into shape. And you hope for no cracks. If you overbake your cake or if you unroll it at some point, you're going to end up with all these cracks, and it's okay. It still tastes good. Next time, try to not to bake it too long or try not to make a mistake like I did. But if you did, eat it anyway and enjoy it. We make mistakes in the kitchen. It's okay. Now you want to wrap this up and you want to chill it until the frosting is firm and it really helps the cake keep its shape. You want to chill it at least 20 minutes, but if you can let it sit overnight, it will really marry those flavors together and it will be just a more delicious and moist cake as a result. Just make sure you wrap it really well. You don't have to use saran wrap, but I have found that is the best way to get the shape to stay in place. Now it was overnight that I left it, and as you can see, all that powdered sugar absorbs into the cake and it will make the cake sticky. That is completely normal, so expect that when you make Swiss rolls. We're going to cut off the ends because the ends are never as pretty, but look at these. These already look really gorgeous. I think this is one of the best cakes in the world to make when you want to impress somebody that loves chocolate. We are now getting this really pretty swirl, and if the cake wasn't cracked, it would look even prettier. But you can just call this like a rustic cake. And if you want to hide those cracks, just get you some powdered sugar and dust it generously over top. Look, you have no more cracks and nobody knows the difference. So let me cut into this one more time so you can see what it looks like with the powdered sugar on top. And look at that pretty little swirl. Isn't that beautiful? You got chocolate throughout and it's just absolutely gorgeous. This is a lovely cake to eat and share, and you can freeze it for up to 3 months. I hope you enjoyed this recipe. Thank you for watching, and as always, happy baking.